is my friend Andrea.
Hey, what's up? Should I not do that?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, our bloopers are fully stacking up.
Yeah. I edit them in anyway, so this is probably good.
Okay.
We're in Flagstaff going rock climbing, which is fun and exciting.
Yes.
Good stuff.
We're lacking enthusiasm. We were so excited this whole week leading up to this moment. Yes.
Still excited. Yeah, talk a little bit about your background, what you do.
Absolutely. So I work in the community and work with a lot of different groups in regards to how can we improve safety in our community. It's one of the highest crime rated areas, but at the same time not displace the individuals that we're affecting. So how do we bring services to wrap around folks in homelessness, in human trafficking, prostitution, and rather than transporting those individuals, how can we bring transformation? On the side, though, I love to travel. This last year, been to all 7 continents, which
congrats.
Yes, so sweet. Then on the weekends, like in the interim, like come outside to go climbing, hiking, pretty much looking to stay active any way I can.
Yeah, which transitions us nicely into what we're doing this weekend.
Which is climbing.
So we're up in Flagstaff, Arizona, and we're bouldering.
Yes.
I've never climbed outdoors. I've done the gym a little bit.
Yes.
Here and there.
So it's a first.
It is a first.
Yes.
Which I'm excited about.
And I have a summer list, and this is why, I was excited that you were coming, but the other thing I was excited about is that on my summer list of 90 things to do, because there's 90 days of summer.
Oh gosh.
And one of them was, I didn't tell you this beforehand, but it's to take someone new rock climbing.
Oh, fun!
And specifically outside. But I think also what sometimes people miss about climbing and just about the outdoors in general is how applicable it is to biblical references. Tell more about what you've been going through. I think that's good.
I guess kind of talking in reference with that, something I've sort of been thinking about a lot lately and just sort of with life is just what is the direction I'm supposed to be taking? Whether that's, with work or with life, with friendships, it's where is God directing me? And a lot of times I feel like he doesn't give a very clear answer. And so many times I feel like I'm in just such a directionless mode. So how do you
navigate that?
Yeah.
And I think that we're so trained of knowing the next step, knowing, okay, elementary school goes to middle school, high school, potentially college or another program, and then what's next? And then, okay, you get going, and again, like, what's next? Yeah. And so when you don't have that specific answer, like, okay, Lord, like, what does that mean for me to live on a day-to-day? Like, I'll fully admit that I'm so goal-oriented that, okay, if I don't know the end goal, Lord, how am I going to trust your faithfulness throughout this? Yeah, let's dive in. What's the passage that you have?
So I've been reading through the book of Acts the last couple weeks, and there's a passage in chapter 16. It's chapter 16, verses 6 through 10. And it's Paul, he's on his second missionary journey and is trying to figure out where in the world he's supposed to go next. Chapter 16. Verse 6.
Yes, read it.
We're going to read it. Paul and his companions traveled throughout the region of, Phrygia.
Take it, girl. Own it.
And Galatia.
Okay.
Having been kept by the Holy Spirit from preaching the word in the province of Asia. When they came to the border of Mysia, they tried to enter Bithynia, but the Spirit of Jesus would not allow them to. So they passed by Mysia and went down to Troas. During the night, Paul had a vision of a man of Macedonia standing and begging him, come over to Macedonia and help us. That was through verse 9. I didn't go to verse 10. But yeah, just kind of, I read that passage and I have a question mark actually in my Bible from probably years ago when I read this of just why, because it said he tried to go to the province of Asia, but the Holy Spirit kept him. And then he tried to go to Bithynia, but the Spirit of Jesus wouldn't allow him to. So 2 times Paul is wandering and he's trying to go in a different direction. And both times God just tells him no in one way or another, but then doesn't provide the answer of where he should be going. I don't know. That was just kind of, I felt like that's such a relatable moment where it's, okay, this door has been closed and this door has been closed, but no other door is open. So what do I do in that sort of in between? It's only a couple verses, but you have to think what is the actual time that he was sort of wandering and not knowing and being, just sort of in this place of wondering. Sometimes it's good to have no direction because I think because Paul wasn't going to Asia and because he wasn't going to Bithynia, he was now open to when God did send the message to tell him to go to Macedonia. And I think if he had been so preoccupied with going to these other places, if this vision had come, he wouldn't have followed it the same way that he did.
Yeah.
He could only follow it because of the directionlessness that he was in.
Like the door was so wide open that he's like, okay, this is from the Lord. We were talking a little bit before about how even in climbing, when you're in a gym, it's so laid out for you. You have the colored routes. They tell you where to start, where to stop.
Yeah.
You can pretty much like read a route. And then when you're outside, it takes a bit of adjustment because there's obviously no colors.
Yeah.
And so you can like literally go make stuff up, but there's routes that you can follow, but you're searching for handholds and you're searching for footholds and you're searching for, okay, how on earth do I get to the top? And there's actually times where you're like, okay, I'm going to try this. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, I'm going to try this. Nope, that's going to work. Okay, I'm going to match my hands. I'm going to go up right. I'm going to like put my foot out left. Like you can try all these configurations, but then when you finally do, I'm going to throw a climbing term, beta, when you finally get the beta to know how to get to the top, you're like, wow, okay, I made it. I did it. I think sometimes even as we're going, as you mentioned, you can feel directionless because you keep searching for those different handholds or those different footholds. But then once you finally get one that's good, you know it. And you're like, yes, okay. So to the passage, if we were relating climbing back to the Bible, like Paul knew it was from the Lord because he had tried to go those different directions. Yeah. And then the Lord said, nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. So as soon as it was from the Lord, like Paul knew.
I feel like when God has moved in my life, like it happens perfectly where it's almost, when I have tried to initiate things or if I've tried to, be like, I feel restless, I feel directionless, like, and try to do something, I always headbutt things. It's tough, it's difficult, but like when God is moving and when God's timing is right, it's almost like, it's like, wait, and then boom, all of it happens at once. And you can look back and see every no along the way was a yes for this that he's prepared you for. And so that's helped me at least when I feel restless and directionless. And it's like, I want to be doing something and I want to be creating busyness for myself. But, so many times I'm like, no, if I'm fighting an uphill battle, then it's not of the Lord. And like, not saying that, where he calls us is going to be easy. I think easy and
it's easy and uphill, I don't think are synonymous here. He might call you to something that's not easy. Yeah. Like even with the community work I'm doing, working with homelessness, prostitution, human trafficking, like those are not easy things. How you can see that the Lord's in it is things keep lining up that like I can't explain.
It's almost the difference between like simple and easy. God, what he calls us to do, what he commands of us, it's simple, but it's not easy.
It kind of brings me back to the proverb of saying like men create their own plans, but then the Lord determines your steps. And when we have certain desires in our hearts or visions or passions, like the Lord's obviously given them for a reason, but the path that we take to ultimately get to that vision or to get to that end goal, like that in between is where it's not necessarily going to be the same. Yeah. Or he can take and redefine like what success in that area means.
And I think that kind of relates back to like even this passage in Acts where, Paul is told no once, he's told no twice, like he does not know where to go, and just being faithful in the place that you're at, where you're at, like understanding that God has you in this spot right now for a specific reason, whether it's to impact someone else or whether it's to just build you up for what he has prepared for you. Because then when that next season does come, like you're ready for it. I have to constantly remind myself of like, no, like God, again, was faithful before. Like I remember the times where I felt this before and where he's come through. But hearing stories even from other people of where God has worked in seasons of their life. And of course we can look back and be like, oh, I see where you're at now.
I think the crucial part of that though is they were able to get to the end point because of their faithfulness in between. And not to say if we stray a little bit, we can't come back. I think that's a lie from the devil. But I think that that end point where we finally get there is so much sweeter because we're like, God gets the chills thinking about it. Because we're like, Lord, I don't know. I don't know where I am. Am I where I'm supposed to be? I don't know where you are, but yet I'm still going to choose to seek you. I'm going to come back to you. And then when you get to that end point, it is so sweet because you can reflect on all the times where you thought about, okay, Lord, wow, I didn't see that you were there. I didn't see it, but now I understand.
Yeah. And I think what's so fun too is like those endpoints, like once we hit them, like they're so fun, but then like we're working towards eternity as well. So like you hit that endpoint, but like that's not the end. Like there's a whole nother challenge ahead of you. And then, kind of a way I like to think about it is like, okay, eternity starts today, because at the end of the day, like when I die and go to heaven, like there's a whole adventure ahead of me there that like I can't even fathom right now. But like just knowing that I am working towards God constantly, like that will be paid off ultimately at the end. I don't know if that made sense at all. So in those directionless seasons of life, like, what are important things to keep in mind? I think one for me is to acknowledge that it's a season. You know, you're in this moment where it just feels kind of hopeless, feels directionless, you don't helpless even, but like having faith that it is a season and that it's temporary and that God has a plan on the back end and that you are working towards something, even if it doesn't feel like you are doing something important. Like, God is in the works in all of that, and you staying faithful through those seasons and patience is really the tough one.
That's when patience is formed.
Yes.
That's when you're like praying, Lord, bring me patience, and he's just like coming right up.
It's right here.
It's right here. But I think that's it. Stay faithful and don't bail early.
Yeah. Cool. Which I think that's everything. I think that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go catch some rocks.
Don't say that. That's not what they say.
That's what we say.
Yeah.
We'll make it a thing. On the rock.
All right.
Rose.
That was.
There we go. All right.
That was fun.
That was really fun.